Hello, dear listener. Welcome to Calm Cloud Chronicles, where imagination drifts and stories unfold. Sit back, relax, and let the journey begin. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more soothing tales. A journey of peace and presence inspired by Lao Tzu and Buddha. The sun crept gently over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of gold and lavender. A soft breeze whispered through the leaves, carrying with it a sense of serenity. By the edge of a still lake, a lone traveler sat cross-legged, their eyes half closed, their breathing steady. The world seemed to hold its breath in reverence for the quiet moment. The traveler opened their eyes, gazing at the reflections dancing on the water. A voice, calm and resonant, spoke from within, a voice that carried the wisdom of the ages. Lao Tzu once said, "Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Watch the river before you. It flows not with haste, but with purpose. It finds its way without resistance, embracing twists and turns with grace. You, too, are a river. Let go of the need to force your path, and trust in the flow of life." The traveler smiled softly, their gaze fixed on the gentle current. They stood and began to walk, their footsteps crunching lightly on a forest path. Soon, they found themselves in an ancient library, its shelves heavy with scrolls and tomes. The scent of old parchment filled the air. Here, the voice spoke again, weaving the teachings of Aristotle into the moment. Aristotle believed in the golden mean, the balance between excess and deficiency. Consider the flame of a candle. It burns brightest when it is neither too large nor too small. In your life, seek this balance. Find the harmony that lies in moderation. The traveler reached out, their fingers brushing the spines of the books. Each touch seemed to infuse them with a sense of clarity, as if they were uncovering hidden truths within themselves. They closed their eyes and took a deep breath, feeling the equilibrium settle in their heart. As they stepped out of the library, the scene changed. A tranquil garden awaited, bathed in the warm light of late afternoon. A statue of Buddha sat beneath a flowering tree, its blossoms drifting gently to the ground. The traveler knelt before it, their hands resting on their knees. The voice spoke for the third time, now resonating with the profound calm of Buddha's wisdom. Do not dwell in the past, nor dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. Here, now, is where you exist. This is where peace resides. The traveler closed their eyes again, this time entering a deep stillness. Their breath was a gentle tide, rising and falling in perfect rhythm. The world around them seemed to dissolve, leaving only the soft glow of inner peace. When they opened their eyes once more, it was night. Stars dotted the velvet sky, their light reflecting in the lake's quiet waters. The voice spoke one last time, its tone both tender and eternal. Peace is not something you seek, it is something you remember. It has always been within you. Let these teachings guide you home to yourself. The traveler rose, their heart light, their spirit calm. They walked away, leaving only footprints in the soft earth, as the night embraced the world in its gentle quietude. The traveler's journey was far from over, though their heart now carried a profound stillness. As they walked beneath a canopy of ancient trees, the whispering leaves seemed to echo the wisdom they had encountered, a quiet symphony of nature, balance, and presence. Their footsteps led him to a small clearing where a wooden bench sat, weathered by time and softened by moss. They took a seat and gazed upward, watching as the branches formed intricate patterns against the vast expanse of sky. Each breath they took seemed to deepen their connection to the world around them, as if the boundaries between self and universe were dissolving. A thought emerged, gentle yet insistent, shaped by the teachings that had unfolded. The voice returned, not as something external, but as a resonance from within, a part of them that had always been there, now awakened. Remember, the path to peace is not a straight line. It is a spiral, drawing you ever closer to your center. Lao Tzu taught you to trust the flow, Aristotle guided you to balance, and Buddha brought you to the present. But now, you must weave these truths into the fabric of your life. The traveler closed their eyes, letting the voice settle in their soul like a seed planted in fertile soil. The teachings were not merely lessons, they were companions, always present, always guiding. In that moment, the traveler realized that they were no longer a seeker, they were a guardian of the wisdom they had found. As night deepened, the stars above seemed to pulse with a gentle light, as though they too understood the sacredness of the moment. The traveler rose, their spirit renewed, and began the walk back to the world they had momentarily left behind. But this time, they carried something immeasurable, a sense of calm, a reservoir of inner strength, and the quiet knowledge that peace was not a destination, but a way of being. Answer, as they disappeared into the forest's embrace, their journey continued, not as an escape, but as a homecoming to the truth that had always lived within them. Lao Tzu's flow of nature. Imagine a river as more than a metaphor. Think of its every curve, its movement over stones and through valleys, as a reflection of life's unpredictability. The river does not demand the mountains to move aside nor the valleys to widen. Instead, it gracefully adapts, its journey shaped by acceptance rather than resistance. Lao Tzu's wisdom calls us to look at our own struggles and ask, where are we trying to force what must instead flow? The next time you feel caught in the currents of stress or urgency, pause. Picture yourself as the river, resilient not in fighting obstacles but in navigating around them. Trust that just as the river finds the ocean, you too will find your way to your goals, not by pushing harder, but by embracing the natural flow of life. Aristotle's balance in all things. The golden mean Aristotle speaks of isn't just a philosophical ideal. It's a practical guide for daily living. Consider the flame of a candle, a simple, glowing example of balance. Too little wax, and the flame sputters out. Too much, and it burns uncontrollably. The art of balance lies in recognizing what is enough. In life, this can manifest in countless ways. balancing work and rest, indulgence and restraint, ambition and contentment. Aristotle's teaching invites us to examine our lives with curiosity. Are we leaning too far into ambition, sacrificing well-being? Or perhaps retreating too much, missing opportunities for growth? Balance doesn't mean perfection, it's a dance of constant adjustment. Like the candle flame, we flicker brighter when harmony is nurtured. Buddha's presence of mind. Buddha's wisdom on presence is a compass for grounding ourselves in a world that pulls us toward distraction. In truth, the present moment is all we ever have, yet it often eludes us. The mind wanders to what if, or if only, robbing us of the peace of simply being. To anchor in the present, consider the breath, an ever-present rhythm that connects body and mind. Each inhale and exhale is a reminder that life is happening now, not in the regrets of the past or the hopes of the future. Buddha's teaching also gently urges us to let go of judgments. The past does not define us, and the future is not yet written. There is liberation in this simplicity. Even mundane tasks, like washing dishes or walking to the store, can become a practice in mindfulness. Pay attention, the feel of warm water on your hands, the texture of soap bubbles, the sound of footsteps on the ground. In presence, life's simplest moments become profound. The traveler remained seated in the tranquil garden, surrounded by the gentle hum of nature. The statue of Buddha, serene and unmoving, seemed to emanate a silent invitation. The traveler's thoughts began to wander, to the mistakes of the past, to the uncertainties of the future. A frown creased their brow, disrupting the calm of the moment. And then, the voice returned, not as a command, but as a gentle reminder, like the first light of dawn breaking through the darkness. Close your eyes, it said, and bring your attention to your breath. Inhale deeply, feeling the cool air fill your lungs. Exhale slowly, releasing the weight of all that is not now. This breath is your anchor, your tether to the present moment. The traveler obeyed, and with each breath, the noise of their thoughts began to fade. The voice continued, its tone imbued with the stillness of the garden. When you dwell in the past, you bring shadows into the light of today. Regrets are but echoes of what cannot be undone. When you chase the future, you grasp at illusions, things that have yet to take form. But here, in this moment, you are free. A bird's song broke through the quiet, its melody weaving effortlessly into the scene. The traveler noticed it now, not as background noise, but as a living part of the present. They felt the ground beneath them, solid and unyielding. They sensed the warmth of the sun on their skin, the soft rustle of leaves in the breeze. This is the gift of presence, the voice murmured. To see the extraordinary in the ordinary, to experience life as it unfolds. Let go of the stories your mind clings to. Simply be. The traveler's breathing deepened, each inhale and exhale a testament to the richness of the present. In that moment, there were no regrets, no worries, only the fullness of being alive. They realized that peace wasn't something to be sought or achieved. It was something to be embraced, here and now. As the traveler opened their eyes, the garden seemed transformed. Colors appeared more vivid, sounds more harmonious. The world had not changed, it was their perception that had shifted. They understood now what the Buddha had meant. Peace is not out there, waiting to be found. It is within, waiting to be recognized. The traveler lingered in the garden, now attuned to its every detail, the soft murmur of the stream, the dappled sunlight filtering through the leaves, the intricate patterns etched into the petals of a flower nearby. As their breath remained steady and their heart calm, the voice returned, not as a whisper but as a gentle tide that carried with it a new understanding. "You are not separate from this garden," it began, its tone suffused with warmth and depth. "The stream flows, and so do you. The tree stands, rooted and strong, and so do you. This flower blooms because of the sun, the soil, the rain. And you, too, exist because of all that surrounds you. There is no I or you, only connection, only wholeness." The traveler felt the truth of these words not as an intellectual concept, but as a profound experience. They reached out to touch the flower, marveling at its delicate symmetry. Its beauty was not just in its form, but in the countless unseen forces that had shaped it, the nutrients in the earth, the cycles of the seasons, the light of a star millions of miles away. And yet, this tiny flower existed, radiant in its simplicity. The voice continued, weaving together the teachings they had already encountered. Lao Tzu spoke of the river's flow, a testament to the interconnected dance of nature. Aristotle's balance reminds us that harmony cannot exist in isolation. And Buddha's presence teaches us to see the threads of connection in this very moment. A realization dawned upon the traveler, one that resonated through their being like the steady beat of a drum. They were not a solitary entity navigating a chaotic world. They were part of a vast, intricate tapestry. Every breath they took was shared with the trees. Every step they made was mirrored by the rhythm of the earth beneath their feet. The garden around them now seemed alive in a way they hadn't noticed before. Each blade of grass, each chirp of a bird, was not separate but part of an unbroken whole. The traveler smiled, feeling a quiet joy that needed no name, no explanation. It was enough to simply exist and know that existence itself was a miracle of connection. As they stood to leave, their steps were lighter, their heart fuller. They knew that this sense of unity was not confined to the garden. It was everywhere, woven into the people they would meet, the challenges they would face, the choices they would make. It was a lesson they would carry with them always, to see the world not as fragments, but as a living, breathing whole. The traveler continued walking through the garden, each step a quiet testament to their newfound awareness of connection. As they wandered deeper, the surroundings seemed to transform, opening into a vast meadow painted with wildflowers of every hue. Butterflies flitted between blooms, their movements intricate yet effortless, like a silent dance choreographed by nature itself. The voice spoke again, this time with a depth that resonated in the air. "Look around you," it said. "Every flower here, every blade of grass, every insect lives not as an isolated being but as part of a grander design. The sun warms the earth, the rain nourishes the soil, and the soil, in turn, sustains life. This interdependence is the essence of existence. And you, dear traveler, are not apart from it. You are woven into this tapestry of life. The traveler knelt to observe a single flower up close. Its delicate petals, shaded in gradients of pink and gold, seemed to shimmer in the light. For a moment, they imagined the journey of this one flower, the seed carried by the wind, the soil that embraced it, the rain that quenched its thirst, the sun that guided it to bloom. This simple flower was a story, a life as intricate as any other, and the traveler felt a profound kinship with it. The voice continued, its tone both instructive and tender. Understand this: the peace you seek is not yours alone to hold. When you cultivate peace within yourself, you contribute to the harmony of all things. Just as the river nourishes the land it touches, so too does your calm ripple outward, touching the lives of others and the world around you. As the traveler rose, they noticed how their senses seemed heightened. The wind carried not just coolness but a soft, melodic hum. The sunlight felt not just warm but alive, wrapping around them like a comforting embrace. They realized that this interconnectedness extended beyond the physical. It was emotional, spiritual. Every thought, every action, every intention was a thread that wove into the fabric of existence. The voice spoke once more, this time as if from everywhere and nowhere, a gentle echo in the meadow. To walk this path is to honor the sacred bonds that tie you to all things. When you listen to another, you listen to yourself. When you show kindness, you heal not just one heart but many. In this way, you are both the traveler and the path, the seeker and the wisdom sought. The traveler stood still, letting the words sink in. They thought of the people in their life, the friends, the strangers, even those with whom they had shared moments of conflict. Each one, they now understood, was another thread in this infinite tapestry. How they treated these connections mattered, for every thread strengthened the whole. With this understanding, the traveler felt a quiet resolve. Their journey was no longer about finding peace for themselves alone. It was about carrying this peace into the world, about walking with mindfulness and compassion, knowing that every step, every word, every choice was part of something far greater. They began to walk again, the meadow fading into the distance, the sky overhead deepening into twilight. The stars would soon emerge, each one a tiny beacon of connection in the vast expanse. And as the traveler moved forward, they did so not as an individual searching for meaning but as a part of the luminous, unbroken whole. The traveler's steps carried them beyond the meadow, where the trees of a quiet forest stood like watchful guardians of the earth. The air was cool, filled with the scent of pine and earth, and the rustle of leaves whispered secrets older than memory. The voice within him remained silent, allowing the stillness to speak for itself. In that calm, the traveler began to reflect, not just on the wisdom they had absorbed, but on the responsibility it brought. For as they now understood, the teachings were not treasures to hoard but seeds to plant, to nurture, and to share. Their thoughts wandered to the people they had encountered along the way, the kind stranger who had offered guidance, the adversary who had challenged their patience, the friend whose presence had been a solace. Each one, they realized, had been a teacher in their own right, offering lessons in compassion, resilience, and forgiveness. It was clear now that every interaction, no matter how fleeting, wove another thread into the tapestry of connection. As the forest thinned, the traveler came upon a small, clear stream. Its waters sparkled in the fading light, dancing over smooth stones. They knelt by the bank, cupping their hands to drink, and felt the cool liquid flow through them, refreshing, purifying, sustaining. It struck them then how many lives this stream touched, the roots it nourished. The stream does not ask where it flows, the voice returned, soft and steady. It does not demand recognition for the life it gives. It simply exists, fulfilling its purpose by being what it is. You, too, are a stream. Your purpose is not something you must seek, it is something you are already fulfilling, simply by being. The traveler rose, watching the stream as it wound its way into the forest. They felt a deep gratitude, not just for the water, but for the reminder that even the simplest things carry profound meaning. The teachings of Lao Tzu, Aristotle, and Buddha now intertwined within him, not as separate ideas but as a unified truth. Life is connection, balance, and presence. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the sky transformed into a canvas of stars. The traveler stood quietly, gazing up at the infinite expanse. Each star, though distant, seemed to shine with a purpose, its light reaching across vastness to illuminate the night. The traveler saw their own reflection in the stars, not as an individual but as a part of the whole, a spark in the great cosmic dance. Answer, they moved forward, not to reach an end, for there was none, but to carry the wisdom they had gathered into each step, each breath, and each moment of their journey. The forest, the meadow, the garden, they were not left behind but carried within, reminders that the path to peace was not a destination but a way of being. The traveler smiled, feeling the stillness of the stars echo within them. They understood now that the teachings would not fade. They would continue to grow, shaping each new moment with the quiet power of their truth. The traveler continued their journey, not as someone chasing a destination, but as a part of the vast, ever-changing whole. The teachings had transformed from abstract ideas into living truths, guiding their steps and shaping their vision. As they walked under the canopy of stars, the forest opened up to reveal a hillside overlooking a vast, quiet expanse. Below, the lights of a distant village shimmered like fireflies, each one representing a life, a story, a connection. The traveler sat on the soft grass, gazing at the scene with a heart full of quiet wonder. The voice returned, carrying with it the wisdom that had been growing within them. Consider those lights, each one a spark in the darkness. They may seem separate, but they are part of the same web, sharing the night, illuminating the world in unity. You are no different. Your light, your presence, touches others in ways you cannot always see. The traveler reflected on this, remembering moments when a kind word, a simple gesture, or even a shared silence had created ripples in their life. They thought of how their own actions, whether intentional or unconscious, had influenced others. The truth of interconnectedness deepened, not just as a comfort but as a responsibility. There is power in awareness, the voice continued. When you act with mindfulness, you become a guardian of harmony, a vessel of peace. When you listen, you honor the connection between yourself and another. When you forgive, you mend the threads that weave us together. The traveler smiled softly, feeling a profound sense of purpose. They realized that living by these teachings wasn't about perfection, it was about intention. Each day, each moment was an opportunity to honor the interconnectedness of all things, not through grand gestures, but through quiet, consistent acts of kindness and presence. As the night deepened, the traveler lay back on the grass, the stars above mirroring the infinite connections below. They closed their eyes, not to retreat into sleep, but to open their inner vision. The voice, now fully a part of them, spoke one final truth. Life is not a solitary path, nor is it a race. It is a symphony, and each of us is a note. Some notes are loud, others soft, but all are essential to the melody. You, traveler, are both an individual and a part of the whole. Walk with this knowledge, and let it guide you to live with grace, with gratitude, and with love. The traveler felt the words settle into their being, not as something to remember but as something they already knew. They opened their eyes to the beauty of the night, feeling not small but vast, an integral part of a universe that was alive, connected, and whole. And so, they rose with a new understanding. Their journey would never truly end, but each step forward would be taken with purpose and peace. The hillside faded behind him as they walked into the unknown, carrying within him a light that would shine wherever they went. The traveler's journey brought him to the base of a towering mountain, its peak shrouded in mist. The path upward was steep, but it called to them, not as a challenge to conquer, but as an opportunity to deepen their understanding. With each step, the voice within grew stronger, weaving together the wisdom of Lao Tzu and Buddha like threads in a seamless tapestry. As they climbed, the voice of Lao Tzu resonated, soft yet unyielding, like the whisper of the wind through the trees. The mountain does not strive to reach the sky, yet it stands tall and enduring. It exists in harmony with the earth beneath it and the heavens above. To live well, traveler, is to find this harmony, to flow like water, to adapt like the river, and to stand firm like the mountain when needed. The traveler paused, placing a hand against the cool rock of the mountain's surface. They could feel its quiet strength, its immovable presence. It reminded him of the teachings of the river they had encountered earlier, to flow with life, to trust its course. Yet here, the mountain offered a different truth, one of rootedness, of enduring through storms and time. The traveler saw now that life demanded both, moments to flow and moments to stand steadfast. Higher still, as the air thinned and the clouds seemed within reach, the voice of Buddha joined the conversation within their heart. Do not seek the summit as a goal to achieve, it said, gentle yet clear. Instead, walk each step with presence, for the journey itself is sacred. The path teaches you as much as the destination. Be here, now. The traveler slowed their pace, no longer fixated on the peak but on the rhythm of their breathing, the crunch of gravel beneath their feet, the dance of clouds around the mountaintop. They began to notice the smallest details, the curve of a leaf caught in the breeze, the shifting shadows cast by the sun. Each step became a meditation, a reminder that life's greatest gifts are not found in arrival but in the act of being present. As they neared the summit, the voices of Lao Tzu and Buddha seemed to merge, no longer separate but harmonizing in unity. The mountain, the path, the wind, they are not apart from you. Just as the river flows to the sea, and the flame needs air to burn, you are part of the whole. To honor this connection is to live in peace. Flow when you must, stand when you must, and always return to the present moment. The traveler stood at the peak, the world stretching endlessly below them. The view was breathtaking, not because of its grandeur, but because of what it revealed: that the mountain was not separate from the valley, nor the sky from the earth. All were connected, part of the same eternal dance. They sat in stillness, letting the wisdom settle like the mist around them. In that moment, they understood the balance Lao Tzu had taught, the presence Buddha had guided him to, and the interconnectedness that united all teachings. The mountain had not been a goal to conquer but a mirror, reflecting the truths that had always been within. Answer: as the traveler began their descent, they carried these teachings not as burdens, but as gifts, quiet reminders to flow, to stand, to be, and above all, to remember that they were never truly alone. As the traveler began their descent, the journey itself unfolded into a new layer of understanding. The mountain, now behind them, seemed less like a destination reached and more like a teacher that had silently imparted its wisdom. The path downward mirrored the path upward, yet the traveler saw it with fresh eyes, for their perspective had been transformed. The trail led them back to the forest, where shadows stretched long beneath the trees, and the golden light of the setting sun streamed through the branches. The air was rich with the scent of earth and pine, and each sound, the rustle of leaves, the song of birds, felt like part of a harmonious symphony. The traveler paused to breathe it all in, sensing that even the forest had something to teach. The voice of Lao Tzu emerged once more, like a breeze carrying the scent of wisdom. The forest thrives not by control but by balance. The trees grow tall, but their roots hold them firm. The leaves fall, yet they nourish the soil for new growth. This is the way, the effortless harmony of existence. Do not seek to control the forest, traveler, nor your life. Trust in its natural rhythm, and you will find peace. The traveler knelt to touch the earth, their fingers brushing the moss that covered the roots of a great oak tree. They marveled at the unseen connections, how the roots reached deep into the soil, intertwining with those of other trees, sharing water, nutrients, and even signals in an invisible network of cooperation. It was a living example of interconnectedness, a reflection of the teachings that now guided their every thought. As night fell, the forest seemed to come alive in a different way. The stars above peeked through the canopy, their light faint yet unwavering. The traveler found a clearing and sat beneath the open sky, their heart full of gratitude for the journey and the lessons it had revealed. It was then that Buddha's voice, quiet yet profound, returned to their awareness. The stars above do not concern themselves with their brightness, nor with their place in the sky. They simply shine. And so it is with you. To live in the present is to shine without striving, to exist fully in each moment without seeking to define or compare. Let this moment be enough. The traveler closed their eyes, the words resonating deep within. They began to reflect not just on the teachings but on the life they had lived before this journey. They saw moments of struggle, of joy, of connection, and of solitude. They saw the faces of those they had encountered, each one contributing to their path in ways both small and profound. And they saw themselves, not as a separate entity, but as a part of the whole, as integral to the universe as the stars, the river, and the forest. When they opened their eyes, the clearing was illuminated by the soft glow of fireflies. Their flickering light seemed to dance in rhythm with the traveler's heartbeat, a living metaphor for the interconnectedness they now understood so deeply. The traveler smiled, not because they had found all the answers, but because they no longer needed them. The teachings of Lao Tzu and Buddha, of the mountain and the forest, had shown him that the journey itself was the answer. They rose with a sense of quiet resolve. The road ahead was unknown, but it no longer felt daunting. Every step, every breath, every moment was part of the way, a harmonious flow that embraced both stillness and movement, presence and connection. As they walked into the night, the fireflies accompanied them like tiny beacons of light, guiding him forward, reminding him of the wisdom they carried within. The traveler continued down the path, the gentle glow of the fireflies casting a warm light around them. The forest grew quieter now, as if it too had entered a state of restfulness, but the traveler's mind remained open, attuned to the lessons unfolding within and around them. They reached a riverbank where the moonlight reflected on the rippling surface, turning the water into a silver ribbon that seemed to stretch infinitely. The traveler paused, sitting on a smooth stone at the edge of the river. The flow of the water captivated them, its rhythm steady and eternal. It was then that the voice of Lao Tzu returned, soft and flowing like the river itself. The river does not concern itself with the destination, it said, its tone as gentle as the breeze brushing the traveler's face. It moves not by force, but by its nature, embracing each twist and turn. So too must you, traveler. To seek control over life is to invite struggle. But to flow, to accept, to adapt, this is the way to harmony. The traveler dipped their hand into the cool water, feeling its quiet power as it slipped through their fingers. They thought of moments in their life when they had fought against the currents, trying to bend the world to their will, and how those moments had only brought exhaustion and frustration. Now, sitting by the river, they saw another way, a way of flowing with life, trusting that it would guide them where they needed to be. As they reflected, the sound of the river seemed to merge with the voice of Buddha, whose teachings arose like the steady pulse of a drumbeat. The present is like this river, Buddha's voice said, calm and unshakable. To live in the past or the future is to stand on the bank, watching the water flow by. But to live in the present is to step into the river and feel its embrace. It is here, in this moment, that life truly unfolds. The traveler closed their eyes, allowing the sound of the river and the wisdom of the voices to wash over them. They felt a deep stillness within, even as the water continued to move. They understood now that the river was not just a metaphor but a living truth, its flow a reminder to let go of resistance, its presence a call to live fully in the now. When the traveler opened their eyes, they felt lighter, as if the weight of their worries had been carried away by the current. They rose and began walking along the riverbank, their steps unhurried, their heart open. The night stretched before them like a canvas, and each star above seemed to whisper the same message: flow, be present, and trust. The path eventually led them to a small wooden bridge, its planks worn smooth by the passage of many travelers before them. As they crossed, they paused to look down at the river below. For a moment, it felt as if the river, the bridge, and the traveler were all one, a seamless connection between movement, stillness, and passage. The voice of Lao Tzu returned once more, mingling with that of Buddha, their teachings interwoven. To walk this path is to embody the way. Flow like the river, stand like the mountain, and walk like the traveler who knows they are never truly alone. Each step you take is both yours and the universe's. Each breath you draw is shared with the stars and the earth. The traveler smiled, their soul quiet but full. They understood now that the wisdom of Lao Tzu and Buddha was not something to possess, but something to live. It was not a destination to reach but a way of being, a constant, harmonious dance between flow, presence, and connection. As they stepped off the bridge and continued into the unknown, they carried the voices of the sages not as distant echoes but as companions, their truths as clear and constant as the river beneath the moonlight. The traveler journeyed further, their steps light yet purposeful, as if each one carried the weight of the wisdom they had absorbed and the freedom it had granted. The world around them seemed to shift gently, reflecting their inner transformation. The river's voice lingered in their mind, echoing Lao Tzu's teaching to flow with the currents of life, while the stars above whispered the calm presence of Buddha's wisdom. Their path led them to a quiet valley where a solitary temple stood, its stone walls weathered by time yet emanating an undeniable strength. The traveler approached, their curiosity mingling with reverence, and pushed open the heavy wooden doors. Inside, the temple was simple, a single room with a smooth stone floor and an open skylight, through which moonlight poured in a silvery beam. They sat beneath the skylight, closing their eyes to the stillness that embraced them. In the silence, the voices returned, not as separate entities, but as a unified chorus of wisdom. Think of the sky above you, came Lao Tzu's voice, serene and flowing. It holds the clouds, the rain, the thunder, and yet it remains unchanged. This is the way of the Tao, to hold without grasping, to support without controlling. You, too, can embody this stillness, holding space for life's storms without being consumed by them. The traveler allowed the thought to take root, imagining themselves as the sky, vast and infinite, capable of embracing all that came and went without losing their essence. They reflected on moments in their life when emotions had surged like storms. Moments when they had felt swept away by anger, fear, or sorrow. Now, they saw another way, a way to hold those emotions with gentle awareness, letting them pass like clouds across the sky. Then Buddha's voice joined, steady and compassionate. To hold this stillness is to be present, but presence is not the absence of thought, it is the acceptance of all that arises. Pain, joy, fear, peace, they are not separate from you, but they do not define you. Watch them as you would watch the river, and see them for what they are: fleeting, impermanent. The travelers' breathing deepened as they sat with this truth. They realized that presence was not a passive state but an active practice, a choice to meet each moment with openness and without resistance. They thought of the stream they had knelt by, its waters constantly moving yet never losing their essence. The river did not cling to the stones it passed, nor did it hold back the flow. So too, the traveler resolved, would they meet life's moments with grace and release. As the moonlight shifted and danced across the temple walls, the voices merged into a single, resonant truth. The path you walk is not about attaining perfection or reaching an end. It is about being. To flow like the river is to trust in life's unfolding. To hold space like the sky is to embrace all that comes and goes. And to walk with presence is to honor each step as sacred, knowing that every step is both the journey and the destination. The traveler opened their eyes, their heart full of quiet understanding. They rose slowly, their movements deliberate, and stepped back into the night. The temple faded behind them, but its lessons stayed within. Truths not bound to a place but carried in the spirit. The valley stretched wide and open before them, its horizon kissed by the first light of dawn. The traveler paused to watch, their heart at peace with the rhythm of the world. They saw the river in the distance, flowing steadily toward the horizon, and they smiled. The journey was unending, but they knew now that this was not a burden. It was a gift, a chance to live, to learn, and to be, moment by moment. The traveler walked on as the horizon began to shift once again, this time from the cool stillness of night to the soft embrace of dawn. The first rays of sunlight touched the earth, painting the valley in golden hues. The birds stirred, their songs filling the air with a gentle vibrancy that felt like a celebration of the new day. The path brought the traveler to a wide open field, where the grass swayed lazily in the morning breeze. In the center stood a single tree, ancient and vast, its branches stretching outward as if to greet the sky. Drawn to its quiet majesty, the traveler approached and settled beneath it, their back resting against its sturdy trunk. In that stillness, the voices of Lao Tzu and Buddha returned, not as separate whispers but as a unified presence, their words flowing seamlessly like the sunlight filtering through the tree's leaves. You have walked far, traveler, they began, their tone both grounding and uplifting. Yet the path does not end here. It never truly ends. The teachings you have gathered, the river's flow, the mountain's strength, the sky's vastness, and the present moment's peace, are not the final destination. They are tools, companions, gifts to carry with you as you continue. The traveler closed their eyes, their breath aligning with the rhythm of the world around them. They felt the firmness of the tree behind them, a reminder of rootedness, and the softness of the earth beneath them, a testament to life's gentle support. The voices continued, their words like a guiding melody. Lao Tzu teaches you to trust the way, they said. to flow with life as the river does, without resistance or force. Buddha teaches you presence, the gift of truly living in each moment as it unfolds. Together, these truths are not just teachings to follow but ways of being, to live with harmony, mindfulness, and an open heart. The traveler reflected on their journey, the lessons learned, the moments of clarity, and even the challenges that had shaped their path. They saw now that each step had been a teacher, each turn a reminder that peace was not found in destinations but in the act of walking itself. The voices softened, leaving behind a final truth. You are not merely a traveler. You are the river, the mountain, the sky, and the path. The wisdom you sought was never outside of you, it was within all along. Trust in it, live by it, and carry it into the world, for in doing so, you will not only find peace but also inspire it in others. The traveler opened their eyes as the sun rose higher, its warmth spilling over the field like a gentle embrace. They stood slowly, turning to place a hand on the ancient tree as if to thank it for its silent presence. Then, with a quiet smile, they began to walk once more, not away from what they had learned, but with it. Their steps were steady, their heart calm. The journey continued, as it always would, but the traveler knew now that the path was not something to be conquered or completed. It was something to be lived, one moment at a time, with grace, with gratitude, and with love. Answer: the traveler moved forward into the unfolding day, a quiet beacon of peace in a world that was always moving, always changing, yet always connected. The traveler's path stretched on, winding through meadows and forests, over rivers and mountains. Yet as they walked, the journey felt less like a quest and more like a homecoming, to themselves, to the truth of connection, and to the harmony of the present moment. The teachings of Lao Tzu and Buddha, once distant voices, now pulsed in their heart like a second heartbeat, guiding, steady, and unwavering. As dusk fell once more, they found themselves at the edge of the ocean. The waves rolled in endlessly, their rhythm eternal, and the horizon stretched so far it seemed to touch infinity. The traveler stood quietly, feeling the cool wind on their face and the sand beneath their feet. The ocean was a mirror, reflecting the endless ebb and flow of life, and the traveler saw themselves in its vastness, ever changing, yet always whole. They smiled, their spirit calm, their heart full. The teachings were not confined to rivers, mountains, or temples. They lived in each moment, each breath. The traveler knew now that there was no end to the journey, only the unfolding of life itself. And with that realization, they turned toward the horizon, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead, not as a seeker, but as one who had found peace in the simple act of being. The waves whispered their approval, and the stars above began to rise, their light illuminating the traveler's next steps. The journey continued, infinite, beautiful, and alive. Thank you for being a part of Calm Cloud Chronicles. If you enjoyed this story, let us know by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Until next time, stay peaceful and keep dreaming.